Aleksandr Hicazinin, Director, Global Environmental Policy Program, University of Geneva, Switzerland.
Thank you very much. Salam, Mr. President, and allow me to congratulate again, as my colleagues, the presidency of COP29. From our position in Switzerland, we look at with a lot of interest at Azerbaijan. We are in the center of Europe, surrounded by big, sizable neighbors. And we see with a lot of interest how Azerbaijan has fulfilled its promise of coming up with its own, we were talking earlier with the youth here, Azerbaijani way. And when it comes to bringing two success stories of Azerbaijan, one being one of the big players on global energy scene, and its new role as one of the prominent players on environmental scene, I wanted to ask for your insight on how you would like or how you foresee the massive investment that you've done within the last few years in the deployment of strategic infrastructure. I'm thinking, for example, of Port Baku. In bringing these two elements that somehow could be contradictory, energy trade and energy development and environmental stewardship, how do you foresee the use of these infrastructures that you've invested for your country to leave a legacy for Azerbaijan and Azerbaijani people and the region? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good question, and thank you for raising this issue. First of all, I'd like to say that all petroleum operations which are being held in Azerbaijan since 1994 are done on the standards of international environmental protection. Our main investors are leading energy companies over the world, and of course everybody knows that their attention to environment is a really a good example, and we witness it not only during the activity on offshore rigs, but also during the construction of major oil and gas pipelines, where there was a special care taken of birds, turtles, and other species, and also archaeological excavations. There have been cases where they had to divert because of important archaeological foundings. This is one thing. Another thing is that before independence, during the Soviet time and during the times of Tsarist Russia, our energy resources were exploited without any concern to environment. And that was how Baku was one of the most polluted cities of the world. We had oil lakes, we had oil spills, we had to spend hundreds of millions and even billions of US dollars in order to clean that terrible legacy, which was an ecological catastrophe. And what you see now in Baku, you cannot even imagine how it looked like 10, 20 years ago, because we made a lot of recultivation, a lot of cleanings, and a lot of ecologically friendly initiatives. Now, as a COP29, the level of our responsibility, of course, is growing. First, because we treat this chairmanship with a very serious approach, and second, because we are on the spotlight. And immediately after we got the chairmanship, we've been attacked by different NGOs and media that, oh, again, oil-producing country, again, is chairing COP. So it was as if it was our fault. And my message was, it is not our fault that we have oil. Look how we use these resources. First, look how we use it for countries' development, for poverty reduction, for fair distribution of wealth, and then use how we use it for infrastructure, for green energy. So today, having oil and gas production stable and with respect to gas even growing, at the same time, we develop green energy projects. One important issue on that is the restrictions which are imposed in Europe with respect to fossil fuel. We see a kind of a contradiction here, and we already raised this issue in front of our European partners. On one hand, European Union wants more gas from Azerbaijan. For that purpose, almost 2 years ago, EU and Azerbaijan signed the Declaration on Strategic Partnership in the Energy Field. Based on that, our gas supply to Europe should have increased from 8 BCM 2021 to 20 BCM 2027. And this, it is not obligation, but it is a target. And we are moving towards that target. This year, our gas supply to Europe will be around 12 billion cubic meters. In comparison with 2021, it is 4 billion more. So we have to invest more, we have to produce more, but there is a restriction with respect to financial institutions to finance fossil fuel projects. For instance, European Investment Bank completely took it out of their portfolio. EBRD has a small portion for fossil fuel projects. So how Europe wants to get more gas from Azerbaijan when first they do not provide financing, because with a project like that, all the projects which we implemented, whether it's oil or gas pipelines, it's about 30% of corporate financing. The rest is lended money. So this is the first question. And second question is they want us to produce more and to supply more. And they do, by the way, projects related to interconnectors construction in Europe. But at the same time, they do not give us a guarantee that our gas will be needed for a long time. So we cannot invest billions only for 5–10 years and then not be able to recover the costs. Southern Gas Corridor and investments in Chardani's Stage 2 projects today did not yet reach the zero balance. We still are repaying the debts. So Azerbaijan, whatever we get from gas sales, we, cover the debts. So these are two most important issues which we need to address with respect to EU-Azerbaijan gas cooperation. And on incorporation of green energy and fossil fuel, I think that the world will need fossil fuel for many more years. And it will be, I think, naive to think that one day just it will stop. So the world is not ready for that, the world's economy is not ready for that, and industry is not ready for that. So I think the best way will be to create a synergy and to have an evolutionary way rather than to put a target which cannot be reached. In our case, we are doing it. We already started active investments with our investors in a green energy projects. Last October, we inaugurated the first 240 megawatt solar power plant. And this year, we will see the groundbreaking ceremony of 4 more solar and wind power plants of the total capacity of 1,300 megawatts. So that will make our potential 1.5, even more. But this is only the beginning, because we have enormous potential of wind and offshore and onshore, and also solar energy. Plus, we add hydro, only in Karabakh and Eastern Zangezur for last 3 years. The capacity of the hydropower stations is close to 170 megawatt, and this is only the beginning. So thus, we will substitute large portion of gas which we use to produce electricity with renewable sources. And this is absolutely realistic. What I'm saying is not our plans, it's already contracts we've signed. Already land has been not only selected but also commissioned for construction. So probably in several months, maximum maybe 3-4 months, we'll see all what I'm saying. And if we bring renewable production in Azerbaijan up to 5 gigawatt, that will substitute large portion of natural gas which we use for electricity, and we can reach our target which has been articulated with a percentage of renewables even shorter period of time. And of course, the synergy here is that the gas which will be safe here, not sending it to power stations, will be sent to Europe, which needs it and will need and will continue to need it. But not only that Europe will need additional green energy sources, because even taking into account the huge investments which European countries are making, they still will be in shortage. So they will need additional energy, and we're working on that. As you know, the green energy cable from Caspian to Black Sea and then further down to Europe, now in the last phase of feasibility study. As soon as feasibility study is ready, we will start, and we already are discussing the practical track, discussing opportunity of connection this cable with Central Asia. So actually what we are talking now, we're expanding the project, because it started like a Black Sea cable from Georgia, Black Sea to Romania, Black Sea coast. We expanded it to the Caspian, and now we're expanding it further down to the eastern Caspian to Kazakhstan. And taking into account the investment projects in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan with renewables, they will, in a relatively short period of time, will be not energy deficit, but energy proficit countries. And the way to export will be again through Azerbaijan and further down to Europe. So all these issues are closely connected with geopolitics and with regional cooperation. So Azerbaijan always first separated energy projects from politics, but at the same time integrated them only in positive meaning. All our energy projects leads to cooperation. And today, if you look at the countries surrounded on Southern Gas Corridor, we see that some of these countries have not very, how to say, easy relations, but this project unites. It's a shared interest, it is a win-win situation, and energy actually leads to peace. In the history, we know that oil leads to war, to bloodshed. Now we change the paradigm, and so far we've been successful. It's already 30 years that Azerbaijan started its oil cooperation with international companies, being the first country who invited foreign oil companies to Caspian Sea. And we have, I think, more bright future. Not to abandon fossil fuel, we will not do it, but at the same time concentrate on green agenda. And once again, thank you for this issue. And also, will be good if we can elaborate on that more, maybe closer to COP, to have more ideas about what we just exchanged, just to make it also part of our agenda at the conference.